So here's the thing, it seems that Don Mills has a coffee shortage because they made me your caffeine injection this morning. Because I want to tell you something, I freaking wake up like this. What you're going to hear from me today is unscripted. It's real. It's real. It's my story. And I'm going to tell you how I'm designing today, tomorrow, and the next day. And you better friggin' find out a way to find a seatbelt on your chair. Because I have been known to be a little bit politely irreverent, respectfully uncensored. And did I tell you that I'm a little bit real? Picture it, 1975, the bowels of Nova Scotia named Yarmouth, the lobster capital fishing of Canada. There was a visionary born. Now back then, people, you got to ask yourself, all there was mentors. And this is what they used to say. Get your ass outside and get the stink blown off you. And dinner will be ready at 5. My dad was a lobster fisherman. My mother was a homemaker. I had 3 brothers. I still do. Because lobster fishing at times was so precarious, there was a lot of fighting in my household. It was always wondering where the next check was going to come from, where the next lot of groceries was going to come from, where we were going to find the money to put gas in the car. Watching my parents fight with one another every day, my mother crying, my father in a rage because he just didn't know what he was going to do. And I'm here to tell you that it was as heartbreaking as it sounds. So that little visionary, knowing that I wasn't one, at 10 years of age, I knew that there was a fish that the local lobster fishermen had called a kayak, not the one that you paddle in. And it was a little fish that everybody used in their traps because the lobsters loved them. So the only leverage that I had was I was amazingly athletic, and all the boys wanted to pick me. That's right, girls, pick me. So what did I do? I figured out how to dip these kayaks very quickly. I cut them back 10%, and I looked at them and said, the next time we play something, you can pick me first. Well, the buggers always showed up, I gotta tell you. So what was interesting is that the tides were low. We used to have to sneak outside in the middle of the night to dip these kayaks. Innovation was even in my mind back then, for the simple fact that I was like on a driveway that went like this, and I had to figure out how I was going to get 150-pound feed bags full of fish on my father's truck before he woke up and kicked my ass. So what did I do? I borrowed a set of training wheels off of a kid's bike down the street, and I put them on my bike to get it up the driveway on my own. My father asked me, Mandy, why in the love of hell do you have training wheels on your bike? And I said, just because it's funny. Fast forward to the big catch. There was so many fish that night, we couldn't scoop them, we couldn't bag them, we just couldn't get it out quick enough. So this is when I knew I had to make the decision of, do I let the ocean take those fish? The biggest fish, the biggest money that a 10-year-old's ever gonna make to help my parents? Or was I gonna go up and get my father, to get my brothers, and really risk getting my ass tanned redder than you've ever seen red? So what did I do? I rode my bike like a crazy person up to get my dad. He's been known, because of how we were growing up, to be triggered very quickly and kind of flying into a little bit of a rage. But those fish and the volumes of what were down there did not take me away from what I needed to do. He stared at me like this. And he literally looked at me, and he kept staring at me. He did not get mad. And until this day, he still stares at me the exact same way. The only thing is that I buy him a new truck every 3 years. So, let's go that Mandy Rennehan graduates at 17 years old. Didn't want to go to my graduation because that diploma meant nothing to me. All of a sudden, I looked over at my boyfriend, and I thought, if this is it, I'm going to shoot myself. So that's when I figured out, with all of this, I was gay. So here I am, 17 years old, a diploma that means nothing. My parents have no money. I have no money. I am, without a doubt, ambitious, little bit of a personality, a smile, a dirty hockey bag full of everything that I had. On top of it, you throw in the fact that I'm gay 24 years ago. What an effing resume. So through the 4-H program, oh, do I have skills, people. Wow, do I have skills. I was milking cows, training horses, you name it, I was doing it all. What I didn't tell you is with the money that I had gathered from being the little fish broker, I bought tools to build log cabins in the woods, which are still there, because I was fascinated with structure. So when I left home, I had people lining up for me to work on their farms. Actually, the funny part about this story is my parents didn't even know that I was gone until 3 weeks later. This is so East Coast. They called me and said, "Dear, where are you?" I said, "I'm gone." They said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "I left home. Mom, I'm gone." "Okay, dear, well, stay in touch." So then we'll move on to the fact that I used to call people at night because I didn't have time to go to trade school. And so literally what I would do is call people up and I'd say, "Hey, can I work for you for free?" And they'd hang up the phone on me because they thought I was crazy. Who was going to work for free? I was. So as a woman, by the age of 22, I was almost completely relevant in every trade that you can imagine, and my name was spreading like wildfire in Atlantic, Canada. And then all of a sudden, I got the call from Toronto saying, "Who is that little shit from the East Coast? She's awesome." I come up here and I flip Toronto upside down, and by the age of 24, they're calling me from San Francisco, the biggest retailer in the world, saying, "Who is this kid?" So, until 22, I'd never had a garden salad. I'd never been to the U.S. I'd never been to that part of the U.S., and here I was going to negotiate a contract to work in all of Canada for this retailer. So what does everybody do? You call your Newfoundland friend. And I'm like, "Herb," I said, "Oh my God, they want me to go to San Francisco," and all of a sudden I hear this stuff going on the phone, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She says, "Well, Jesus, bye, I'm getting on a plane and I'm coming with you." So she was my assistant. So she takes me to Reedman's, puts me in a pair of pants and a button-up shirt that, God, I can't even tell you what I looked like back then. Anyway, so we get there and the guy's standing in the hallway and he looks over at us and he goes, "Listen, Canada, you got 7 minutes. And I'm like, "Okay then." So all of a sudden, my Newfoundland friend says, "You got this." So I get up, walking down the hallway to a big corporate room full of white breads of America. And what happens? My hem falls out of my pants. And all of a sudden, I hear Lord Thunder and Jesus, "Boy, you can't go in there like that." So what does she do? She runs in the office next to us, grabs a stapler, and the rest was on late night. No joke. Within 2 minutes of being in that room, I realized that trades was not my only gift. That 7 minutes turned into an hour. I flipped them upside down with my thought process and my strategies. And not only did I walk out of there with stapled pants, a $4 million contract, I also was invited to the bigwig's house that night for dinner to meet his wife and his kids. Fast forward, I'm scaling across Canada. I am going down to the U.S. All of a sudden, I've got a great team of little Mandys. You've got to know what that looks like. Ooh. all of a sudden I step back from being that part of the business. It allows me to be able to sit back, look at our trajectory, where are we going to grow? And there were two things making me sweat, like Mike Tyson trying to make a sentence. The perception of the collar, blue, and the supply and demand issue that's more relevant than I can ever attest or articulate to you today. And women need not apply. Women need not apply. 1,000 years ago, people, look back 1,000 years, fast forward to the Industrial Revolution. Look at the people that built our countries, our cities, our communities. All of them treated like second-class citizens because that work was dirty. In Canada, and a lot of other countries, everybody, the smart kids go to university. And the dumb kids go to the community colleges or the trade schools. That's a real freaking issue for me. If you thought that renovating your home or getting somebody in there was expensive before, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's about to get a lot worse. Canada has been known to be the country that you can come here and start a new life. From non-judgment. Tradeism is a thing. It's all around us. There's a reason why our trade schools are half empty. Because all of those same people that came to Canada to start a new life and work to build their countries and helping maintain ours, irony alert, are the same people that are telling their kids to go to university so that they can be proud of them. While all of that, I have people on my doorstep every day saying, Mandy, I am depressed, I am repressed, I am complacent, I have no money because I've gone to university for 3 to 4 years for nothing because my mom and dad wanted me to. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what our lives, what your lives would be like every day without the function of blue collar. You would not have clothes. You would not have soap. You would not have water. You would not have a ground. You would not have a car. You would not have public transit. You would have no food to eat. You would be nothing. You would be standing here trying to cover up what God gave you because there'd be nothing. You need to think that all of these people have given us a life. They continue to. The blending of the white and the blue collars is a color that none of us will ever want to take off. Because of a hierarchy in our society, we've become ignorant to it. I'm Mandy Rennehan, and I'm the Blue Collar CEO. And I am redefining the collar blue and changing the goddamn answer to what do you want to be when you grow up. Thank you.